Yo, we back in it, but no need for y'all to go anywhere. Cause I need y'all to know, as soon as one video stops, another video starts. So, yeah. This is, 7 Kings of Wrestling Games. 12 minutes, we can do that.
There's just something special about this
5,
time of year.
4,
The
3,
twinkling lights,
2,
the joy
1.
of
Let's get to it.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel where today we're taking a look at wrestling games that you'll never get to play as we take a look at 7 unreleased games from the likes of the WWE, WCW and TNA. Number 1, WWE Titans Parts Unknown. Kicking things off, we have WWE Titans Parts Unknown. This was a game that was being developed by the studio Next Level Games, who are best known for their work on Nintendo games like Super Mario Strikers, Punch-Out and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. Rather than a traditional wrestling game, the premise for Titans was to take the WWE license and create a fantasy fighting game with its superstars depicted as powerful, exaggerated versions of their character.
Like
Alongside
WWE
cast of
models.
WWE superstars, it was claimed that Next Level Games also planned to include its own cast of original characters featuring anthropomorphic warriors, with these based on animals like bears and crocodiles, as well as magical characters like sorcerers and witches. In terms of gameplay, concept art shows that Titans was set to be more of a brawler than a traditional wrestling game, and because of that, in
Seems
the
like it.
absence of a ring and ring ropes, certain characters like Rey Mysterio would utilize a staff to perform the 619. One of the game's core features was set to be the inclusion of destructible environments, as the artwork shows plans for a furnace sequence within a level that was dedicated to Kane, which when destroyed would cause fire to flare up and emit smoke into the environment. It's unclear when Titans was cancelled, as it was never officially announced, though it appears to have been planned for development during the PlayStation
If that
2
was gonna
era,
be an open
meaning it
world
was
game, that would
likely
have
set
been
to
dope.
release between the early to mid 2000s. Number 2, WWE Brawl. Announced in 2010, WWE Brawl was a cartoonish brawler that featured a stylized art style similar to the likes of the Team Fortress games, where rather than fighting a ring, the WWE stars would duke it out in a variety of environments within the fictional Brawl City. Like WWE Titans, the premise for the game seen the WWE
Yeah,
superstars
Undertaker, he
transform
just
into
busy, man. You ain't
larger-than-life
gotta give him an
superheroes
ultimate
as they
outfit.
led a group of resistance fighters against the evil Mr.
Okay, I
McMahon
can see
and
that.
his
Super Cena.
corporation.
That makes sense.
Characters in Brawl drew their inspiration from a lot of popular superheroes within the Marvel and DC universe, with a lot of stars featuring similar appearances and powers. For example, Triple H took on a Thor-like appearance wielding the legendary Hammer of the King, while the rated R superstar Edge had powers similar to Quicksilver from the X-Men, which allowed him to quickly move in forward space to warp from one area to another. Other characters like Rey Mysterio had Flash-like superpowers with speed and agility, while The Undertaker became the ultimate dead man, drawing on the power of souls. In a more original
Like a
take, John
telekinesis.
Cena would draw from his chain gang persona, which allowed him to summon giant chains of energy to attack and bind his opponents. Each of the characters also came with a level that was themed around their persona, with John Cena's home area being a garage that was filled with cars, The Undertaker would wrestle in a creepy graveyard, and Triple H had his own castle. One of the coolest things about these stages was the fact that they were all fully interactive, as while brawling through the area, players could unleash crazy
Is that
amounts of
The
damage to the
Miz
stage itself,
or John
with footage
Cena?
of the courthouse showing the level of destruction that was possible, with entire walls and sections
Yeah, that
completely
looks like The
destroyed.
Miz and R-Truth.
Unlike
No, that's not
WWE
Mysterio.
Titans, which was cancelled
They
early
must
into
have switched it
development,
up real quick.
WWE Brawl was much closer to being finished when the decision came to
But these some
cancel the
crackers, y'all
project,
already know what
as
it
the game
is,
had
though.
already been
I ain't gotta
announced
tell y'all.
and shown off in the form of a trailer, with the developers later stating it was only a few months away from completion. Number 3, TNA Impact 2. Following the release of TNA Impact in September
This would have been a
2008,
good
which
game.
garnered sales of around 1.5 million copies, publisher Midway Games were quick to announce plans for a sequel. Those plans, however, turned out to be short-lived, as just a few months later, in February 2009, Midway filed for bankruptcy and began selling off their assets to help reclaim their debt. Despite the filing, speaking in an interview with ESPN in May 2009, Samoa Joe, who worked as a consultant on the original TNA Impact game, he revealed that he just got done recording another mocap session and brainstorming session where he was shown a mock-up of TNA 2. The mock-up shown to Joe showcased the game's menu design and included 2 new options, one being a belt match and the other one Bound for Glory. The latter appeared to be the name given to Story Mode, which was said to be a much darker story than the original, with the premise seeing your character fighting to break free from a demented asylum. According to Joe, Midway had taken on board all of the player feedback and put in a lot of features that fans wanted to see, along with a lot of things that were missing from the original. Later that month, Warner Brothers placed a bid of $33 million to purchase the assets of Midway Games, though this didn't include the TNA license, which left the future of the game uncertain. Eventually, it was announced that South Peak Games had acquired the license in November 2009, though rather than go on to release TNA Impact 2, the game was quietly cancelled. Instead, South Peak chose to port the original TNA Impact over to the Nintendo DS and the PSP under the new name TNA Impact Cross the Line.
With QuickBooks Money, I found a different.
Was there
flow.
more than one
Now that I have a
TNA
business
Impact
bank
game?
account with no monthly
Please
fees.
check. Should probably
My
skip.
moderate to severe.
Number 4, WWF No Mercy on the Game Boy Color. WWF No Mercy for the Nintendo 64 is widely regarded as one of the best wrestling games of all time, therefore it's no surprise that THQ planned to bring the game, or at least a version of it, to the Game Boy Color. Like its console counterpart, this portable version of No Mercy
Yeah, there was
also being
4.
developed by Aki rather than
There was
Natsume, who
4
worked on WWE's
TNA
previous
games.
titles for the Game Boy.
Wait, no.
According to the Lost Media Wiki, Aki's Game Boy version of No Mercy was set to include several new features, including the addition of a Create a Wrestler mode, as Aki planned to support the Nintendo 64 transfer pack by allowing players to import their created wrestler to the console version, where they could
Okay,
then
about
compete
5.
in a secret
Yeah, 5.
championship path
It
within
was just showing a
championship
bunch
mode.
of
Unfortunately,
PS2s,
due to problems
Xbox.
during
So it
development,
seemed like it was
Aki's
more than
Game
one
Boy
game.
version of No Mercy
Well, it was
was
just one
scrapped,
game.
which then led to THQ hiring Natsume to create a quick version of No Mercy using their WrestleMania 2000 engine with new wrestlers, though ultimately that version of the game was also cancelled, leaving No Mercy exclusive to the Nintendo 64. As a result of its
That might have been a good
cancellation,
idea.
specifically the Aki version, there was no way for players to unlock the hidden championship path within championship mode officially. However, the mode could be accessed through the use of a cheat code using a GameShark cartridge as the feature was finished and ready to go. Number 5, WCW Mayhem 2 / WCW 2000. Following the release of WCW Mayhem in September 1999, Electronic Arts announced that they were working on a new next-gen wrestling title for the PlayStation 2. While the original Mayhem was developed by Kodiak Interactive for the PS1 and the Nintendo 64, the sequel was under development by former WWF No Mercy creators Aki. In terms of updates, Mayhem 2 was set to expand the series across the board, with planned updates including a new branching storyline system within season mode, over 1,000 new moves, and new match types including First Blood and Gauntlet matches. While some footage of the game is available, this is primarily in the form of animation tests showcasing facial animations and voiceover that use the new PS2 hardware. The only media of the game in a playable state comes in the form of screenshots that were taken from the May 2000 edition of PSM magazine, which referred to the game under the new name of WCW 2000. According to the PSM article, alongside improved PS2 visuals, the game was also set to include an expanded backstage area of adjoining rooms which players could move between by smashing through the walls. Despite being a fair way into development, due to the WWF's purchase of WCW in March 2001, this negated the licensing deal between Electronic Arts and WCW, forcing them to cancel the project entirely. Following its cancellation, the engine that was
Is
developed
that
for the
Suge
game
Knight?
did go on to be used elsewhere, as the engine and the technology that was developed for it was used in EA's 2003 release, Def Jam Vendetta. Number 6, SmackDown
Yeah, he
vs.
probably
Raw
was in there.
Online. In September 2008,
SmackDown vs.
THQ
Raw
announced
Online.
plans to bring the popular SmackDown
I
vs.
did hear
Raw
about this.
series to PC with a new title developed exclusively for Windows by Korean
Yeah,
developer
I did hear a lot about
Games.
this.
Unlike other games in the SmackDown vs. Raw series, SVR Online was unique in that it was planned to be a free-to-play online game where you could challenge players in online matches, interact with them, and even shop with them, where you could use your funds to buy their wrestlers and their brands. Along with the multiplayer component, the game was also set to feature a single-player mode where you could play as one of the WWE wrestlers or create your own custom wrestler, which you could then use in a story mode that would see you go in search of fame and respect on a journey to reach the Hall of Fame. Despite being in active development for around 2 years and even getting as far as holding a beta test, THQ ultimately decided to pull the plug on the project in November 2010, announcing in an earnings call that the game had been cancelled and that they were closing their offices in Korea. Years after the game's cancellation, we did get a look at what the menus for the game would have looked like, as UI artist Vincent Chan revealed that he'd been contracted by THQ to create a style guide and an interactive demo for the game using assets that they'd provided. Screenshots of the demo show how the menus for the game would have been laid out, with these including a main menu screen featuring Rey Mysterio, a profile screen featuring The Undertaker, a new look Create a Superstar, and the most interesting of screens, a player customization section which took on the form of an MMO game where players could equip various items to boost their stats. As this was only a mock-up, the images and the text that were used were all placeholders from some of Vertigo Games' other titles, though it does give you an idea of what was planned. Number 7. WWE 2K21. In 2019, Visual Concepts announced that they would be taking over development of the WWE 2K series from longtime Japanese developer Yuke's. This change in development led to the disastrous release of WWE 2K20, a game that was so badly received due to it being riddled with bugs and glitches that 2K were forced to cancel
It never did
WWE
anything bad like that for
2K21.
me.
The cancellation of 2K21.
Only thing it did for me,
WWE's
it would
investor
glitch
earnings call in
when I was
April 2020,
doing
where
universe
WWE's
mode.
interim
Well, not
chief
even universe
financial
mode.
officer,
When I was
Frank
editing
Riddick,
the character,
simply stated
it would just go
there's
to
not
the
going
home
be a
screen,
launch
not
of the
no
game this year.
actual glitches like
Ultimately, the
fake
cancellation of
glitching.
2K21
They did that more of
proved to
that
be
in
the right move,
2K22.
as this gave the developers the time they needed to recode parts of the engine and bring it up
Wait,
to modern standards by incorporating
yeah,
modern
just a
technology.
little bit.
Thanks to the game's
Only when
cancellation
I
and
would
the expanded development
edit
time,
characters.
this led to
I
a
mean, not
huge
edit
improvement
characters.
with the release of
When they
WWE
had
2K22,
when they
which
had
was
added
widely
in
regarded as the best game under the
alternate
2K
characters that were
banner.
modded.
As for
You just
2K21, no details
save
or
it as
media
the
of the game has
alternate, and
ever
then you
surfaced,
go to
so
the
it's
home
hard to
screen.
say
And
what
then
it
that
would
was
have
like
looked
the end
like,
of that.
though it's assumed that the plans for the game simply carried over to 2K22, meaning the
I
plans
think
for
2K23,
2K21
the
will
loading
still see
screen
the
is super
showcase centered
fast.
around Rey Mysterio,
Like,
with Rey
then
also
if
appearing
they
in the
upgrade
game's
it
box
to make it
art.
even faster than it is
So
right now,
that's 7
that'd
cancelled
be dope.
wrestling games that we'll never get to play. Let me know what you made of them in the comments. And while you're there, if you want to learn more, you can hit that subscribe button to stay up
Most
to
of these
date with all the latest wrestling
games that
games.
were canceled, I knew some of them, not all of them though.